At the moment, if you look at the world, it is going through a polycrisis, and the challenges on pretty much the ideas of justice, democracy, humanitarian are enormous. You cannot do a pushback or in any way resist these negative forces. I think it's important for us to recognize that we have unique strengths as institutions, as individuals, but till we really come together, bring these different capacities, competence, visions of change, we'll not be able to deliver a better future. So, an institution like the International Civil Society Center gives us that opportunity to come together, to deliberate. But this is not about just deliberation. This is about the possibility of creating spaces for working together, for building synergies. But I would say, even more importantly, collectively think of alternative futures, think of what we need to do, what are the strategies for civil society to really build a just and equal future. The life of a chief executive in a large international NGO is pretty much about getting sucked into operations, getting sucked into organizational management, which is critical. But as CEOs, it's really important that they also have the headspace and the moment to reflect both on their own failures, but also on new possibilities. So this convening that the International Civil Society Center does provides me certainly, I've benefited immensely over the last 3 years, gaining a lot of diverse perspectives. We don't necessarily agree all the time, but these diverse perspectives help us understand where the civil society is at this juncture, where the world is, and what are possible ways of improving our organizational performance, but also making us more effective in delivering our vision and mission. I'm hugely privileged to take on this responsibility of being the chair of the International Civil Society Center, particularly at this critical moment. I would say this is a historic moment where we are seeing massive disruptions in the way the normative worldview has been defined over the last several decades. At this juncture, I think answers for a better future are going to come from civil society. Very often, real answers come from the margins. It's not going to come from the mainstream political system or the mainstream economic system. And therefore, there's a critical responsibility with civil society in thinking of better future. What are the strategies for that? How do you arrive at different forms of coalitions which can give us the muscle to do the pushback against authoritarianism, against oligarchies, against concentration of power and wealth. And it's that moment where civil society, particularly the center, hopefully can bring many voices together, really diverse voices together. We should not get bogged down by our minor differences, but collectively start thinking of what are the big strategies. But while we think of big strategies, we should also look at the nuts and bolts of how we can arrive there. So this is a big moment. That's really my expectation, that the International Civil Society Center becomes a space for convening, dialogue, but it is also a resource, a knowledge resource, a peer resource, a co-traveler resource in taking us towards a more just and equal future. And finally, if we can, through this center, identify some issues of collectively working towards our agenda of peace, development, justice, I think that would be fantastic. The International Civil Society Center, I must say, has been an exciting idea, is a dream that I think several generations of civil society leaders often have, of coming together, of recognizing that civil society is not about being siloized or competing, it's about collaborating. So this is that space that we have created together, but we need to harness it. We have overcome several of our internal challenges. For instance, I do think that we need much more of diversity within the center. We need to also start looking at how can we push the agenda of civil society beyond convening and thinking. So I really hope that we recognize the moment that we are in, the moment of global history, and then start finding our role in responding to this massive crisis, massive disruption that we're seeing in the world.